Chief, thank you so much for joining us today. We have a very serious topic to talk about today. We're going to talk about school safety. There was a shooting about 2 weeks ago in Florida. What can you say about what's been going on?
Well, first, we're very sorry for what happened down in Florida. Our thoughts and prayers goes up to the family for that mass shooting that occurred down in Broward County on Valentine's Day. But we have been somewhat proactive over the last 20 years. You know, we've had police officers assigned to our high school for at least the past 20 years, and we have recently now assigned another officer to the HYCC. You know, we identified these two buildings, you know, based on the demographics of individuals where there might be a shooting as two potential spots. So we do have officers there on a full-time basis when the buildings are open. We also have the Adopt a School program where we have assigned a officer to every public school in the town of Barnstable, where they go there, they meet on a regular basis with the school administration to discuss any potential problems that they may or may not have. You know, and they spend 5 or 6 hours there every week. They try to be there every morning. You know, so when the parents come in there, they can see a uniform presence, an obvious police presence there as a deterrent, you know, same as the high school and same with the HYCC. You know, we've been very, very fortunate over the years. There hasn't been an incident. Yet we go back to the mid 80s. We did have an incident, you know, where it definitely would come under an active shooter incident where an individual who was served the restraining order was on the outs with the wife, and he wanted to see his children. He went into the old Hyannis East Elementary School on Bursar's Way with a rifle and confronted the school principal. He was talked down. He left the school. Did not hurt anyone, but eventually he was arrested in the area of Spring Street, Hyannis. So I think that something like this cannot happen even in Barnstable. You know, we always have to be on guard for a potential problem here, and I think we are well aware of it, and we are ready for it. You know, right after the Sandy Hook shooting down in Connecticut several years ago, you know, we had a huge tabletop exercise, you know, involving the FBI, the state police, all our local fire departments, the Barnstable Police Department, the Barnstable school system, and we went through an active shooting scenario, you know, which happened at Barnstable High School. You know, so I think we are trained, and I think we are ready to deal with whatever may come. And just within the last 2 weeks, you know, we did have a lockdown drill at the high school, so I think we are ready for whatever might come our way.
And hopefully that day never comes, but it's good to know that if it does, that you and the fire departments and all of the safety officers in the town are prepared for such a situation. I just also wanted to ask you, you know, I know there's a lot of talk about, you know, the police response and, you know, history of this person.
Yep.
I know that the Barnstable Police Department takes any threat, any phone call that you get very seriously. Is that correct?
Absolutely. You know, we have any type of incident involving the schools, no matter how minor in nature it is. You know, we would never let that go by. We will thoroughly and completely investigate it, and we probably do that in the average of maybe 2 dozen times, 24 times a year. You know, not just to public schools, but also to private schools. You know, if they make a threat, you know, we track it down to the very end. Make sure there is no viable threat, and no one's going to get hurt, and no one's being put in harm's way. You know, we train for an active shooter drill all the time. You know, if we know there's somebody in the school with a weapon, you know, the officers are trained to set up a contact team and move directly wherever the shots are coming from. You know, if it's to a point where as they enter school, they're going down a corridor and there's somebody injured in the corridor, they're actually trained just step over the injured party and keep moving forward to wherever the shots are coming from, because that person has to be stopped immediately.
And I know after Sandy Hook, you know, all the schools in Barnstable now, you have to get buzzed into the school. You can't just come in whenever you want, which I think is it's a really key thing. It's a key security feature.
Right. Once the schools are open, once they're in session, once the kids are in school, all the doors are locked. All the doors are locked except for the main door, and that's even locked too. But then to be buzzed in, and there's a camera, you know, you'll be recognized, identified yourself, then you'll be allowed to come in, which is a great security precaution. You know, something as simple as that, just locking your doors, makes all the difference in the world.
It does, for sure. Is there anything else you'd like our residents and parents out there to know, and just to have a little bit of that peace of mind?
I want that peace of mind. I want to reassure them that we are there. We train all the time for this. You know, and we will do everything we can to prevent this from ever happening to Barnstable, and I hopefully it never will.
Right. And if anybody out there, you know, has maybe you know, they're unsure about something, or you know, they have an uneasy feeling about something or somebody, you know, don't ever hesitate to call the police department. That's what you're there for. That's your job, is to kind of investigate these kind of things. And, you know, nothing's too small.
Well, that goes back to basic philosophy. If you see something, say something.
Exactly.
If you see something, if you hear something, then please say something. Say it to somebody else, even if you're not sure. Get it off your chest and just call the local police department and let them deal with it.
Right. I always say better safe than sorry.
Exactly.
Thank you so much, Chief, for joining us today and talking with us about this extremely difficult issue.
Good talking to you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye. My guest today is the Chief of Police, Paul MacDonald.